here. All right. So let me show you what I'm working on. I am working on a barn board that my mom and my aunt, they make. They create all these different designs, and they have a garden one this year. And so I'm just working on the garden one. Let me give you a little bit of a close-up here. So this is what it looks like. It is so dang cute. So I figured, let me see if I can set it up this way. And maybe you guys can see me working on painting it a little bit. And I figured we'd just chat about what's going on. Lots of life updates lately. Maybe I'll just paint it like this for you, and then you guys can see. Try not to be totally shadowed. Okay, so we'll just paint a little bit. Let's see, I have the dark chocolate I need to finish. I know it's kind of early, I'm not sure if anyone's even up yet. I wanted to get up early before my kids got up because trying to paint with them is sometimes a little bit hard. Especially like these paints aren't washable, so I just try to avoid dealing with that a little bit. I don't mind washable paints. We do washable paints inside, but I don't really have a lot of cloth things anymore though. I feel like as a mom, I've gotten to like, we got leather couches. I got them off of Facebook Marketplace. Super cheap, actually nicer than the couch that I paid way too much for that we had before. But I mean, I'm like, anything that can be a wipeable surface is for me, for sure. So let's just talk about life. What's going on? I'm like halfway through my pregnancy, which is really exciting. We have a ton of stuff planted in the garden. And right now I have broccoli and cauliflower. No, I don't have cauliflower. I want to plant some cauliflower. I have broccoli and cabbage. My cabbage is doing a lot better. It was looking really sad before. Um, and we have tons of trees blooming around here. And so like, I don't know if you guys have been following for a while. We bought our home from an estate, so we really didn't get to like talk to the owner. Obviously, unfortunately, he passed. But we didn't get to talk to the owner or anyone about like what's on this property plant wise, and we bought it in the winter, like, well, end of fall, really, like November is when we close. And so we had no idea. I had like an idea that there's fruit trees here, but I really didn't know what they are. I suspect that, let me show you. I can do like a little tour here too. I suspect that these two out front here are apple trees, and then we have this really pretty one back here. You can see it kind of like, where am I on the camera? Here. I'm pretty sure that's a cherry tree. And so I don't know for sure, but we're trying to figure out like kind of everything that we have on the property. And we also have some raspberry bushes growing. I bought some currant bushes off of Facebook Marketplace, and they're growing really well. Some comfrey too. And so, yeah, I planted broccoli and cabbage. I also got potatoes in the ground, some garlic too. The garlic's coming up. I did a spring garlic. So usually I do fall, but since we bought this house so late, we just didn't obviously have the opportunity to plant fall garlic. And so I'm trying spring, see how it works. And so far so good. It's actually coming up. I was really excited because I like, even the guy I bought the seeds from, he's like, you know, you're supposed to usually plant these in fall. And I said, yeah, like I know, but I've done some research, and like you can do spring garlic around here. And he's like, yeah, you can. It just probably won't be so big, like as big, which honestly, I was cooking with some of the ones that because I bought a lot from him. Like, I'm always just way more ambitious than like planting things than I actually end up being. Like, actually end up being able to do. So I had some leftover seed garlic and I was cooking with it. And these guys like were massive. They were like this big, like huge seed garlic. And I was cooking with them. And it was actually really hard to put in my like I don't even know like the thing that you like roll it or whatever, and it kind of it dices it or whatever. It was too big to put under that. So honestly, a little bit of smaller garlic would probably be better for me anyways. So that way I can use like my mincer and not have to worry about chopping it, because I hate chopping it. I bought that mincer this year and it has been like one of the best tool investments that I've had. And so, yeah, I've absolutely loved this. I need to make sure I'm not putting my hand in wet paint. Totally not paying attention. But yeah, I'm going to put this up in my garden. You guys can see like these. I have the beets here and then the carrots, and I'm working on potatoes right now. And as I mentioned earlier, I have a black marker, like a paint marker, that will go in between these lines here. And that kind of defines all of the lines, and it's going to look so good. My mom and my aunt make these. They do classes. They also sell them. Post this live if anyone's interested in getting one. They do 12 by 12 too. This is a 2 feet by 2 feet, but they do 12 inches by 12 inches too, for smaller ones. But yeah, I love painting these, and I'm really excited to have one for my garden. Yay! I'd love to know what you guys are planting, if you're doing a garden this year, or if you have any like gardening tips. Like, I'm still a newbie for sure. This is my first year that we're trying to like grow for like to actually kind of maybe sustain ourselves. We'll see. I bought I think I have like 40 tomato plants, and so I have a lot of work cut out for me. But I have a decent amount of paste tomatoes because I mostly want to put up sauce. That's kind of my goal. We use a lot of sauce. I probably use sauce like at least once a week, some sort of red sauce. And so I'm going to just can like neutral sauce, nothing I think crazy, because I like to be able to like season whatever I'm doing. We do like a lot of Italian and Mexican dishes. Hi guys, thanks for joining. And so, yeah, I don't know. I'm really excited. And then we also have, I think I mentioned, some raspberry bushes, and those are looking really healthy. And I'm just super, super grateful that we moved up here. You know, this was such a big move for us. It was 5 hours away from where we had lived before, and that was just like a huge, huge change for us. And yeah, I don't know, it was just such a big jump, but I'm just so grateful that we did it, because I was really scared. Like, I honestly was like really nervous to make the move. It was just such a change for us. But before that, you know, we had done a military move, a small one, about in the south. So like, you know, a 14-hour drive from where we had lived before. So it was a big change, far from a lot of our family. But I think that really kind of helped us be able to kind of see like, okay, we can live somewhere else and we can establish our lives elsewhere. And, you know, it was a little bit of a test run because we still had our old home. So we didn't have to worry about, you know, selling our old home, or that we didn't have anywhere to come back to if it didn't work out. But I think that was seriously like a really good test run, that we could live somewhere else and we could thrive. And so when we came back here, you know, I have like a realtor app addiction. I like to look at like all these different homes and lands and just like, you know, imagine what my life would look like if I lived in this house or this town or whatever. Like, I just love looking at that stuff. And so like I would always send stuff to my husband would send stuff to me, and we'd like just look at different areas, different land. And I'm just gonna switch this a little bit so that's not so shadowed. Baby bud. Okay. Um, and so, we'd always just like look and see what's available. And especially like outside of where we were living, like we lived very close to the city. And so, like for us, having any sort of land like over a couple acres, you're looking at like the hundreds of thousands to millions. Like it's just not affordable. And so we just started to kind of slowly expand our search, and we were trying to find something somewhat close to where my parents will retire. Unfortunately, where they picked 20 years ago, it might have been pretty cheap land there. It grew and exploded and was really expensive, and so we just kind of expanded our search a little bit further, a little bit further. And we eventually found a few properties around where we are now. But, if we put an offer in on one, but we were outbid by an all cash offer. And I'm like, who has that kind of money to have an all cash offer? Certainly not millennials, I don't think. But it ended up being, God has his plan, right? So it worked out well because we found this place, and I think it was a better fit for us anyways. Although the place that we did bid it, I mean, the land was just gorgeous. It was like bluffs all around. Really just a beautiful place. But the house itself was, I think, a little bit too small for a growing family and 3 dogs. And we don't need like a big house by any means, but um, the bedrooms were super separated. They were like one on two on the top, one on the bottom, and another one on like another floor. So it would have been really weird with the kids, kind of to be so separated from them. But uh, like I said, God has his plan. And I honestly think that this place has worked out best for us, and we found such a great community here. But I feel like if you are like thinking about making a move and you're just like, you're not sure if you can make such a big life change, I feel like we've made a lot of really big life changes together, just kind of in the last, 10, 12 years. And every time, it's been difficult. There's maybe been some struggles in the change of it all, but it's always worked out. And I feel like you can't like put off all of your dreams, um, because you're scared. And like, obviously, don't just like have a dream for like 10 seconds and then, um, act on it. Like, think about it, noodle on it for a while, and like make plans to make it happen. But don't be like too afraid. I'll call my dog. Pippin! Pippin, bud. Here you come. Might have to go see where he went. Sometimes he likes to wander off a little bit. Oh, I was not paying attention. He was in a totally different direction than I thought. But our dogs have loved living up here and just like walking around on our land and stuff. I feel like it's really good for them. What's up, bud? But I'm just painting as long as my kids stay asleep. We'll see how lucky I get. They've been sleeping pretty late. They've also been going to bed pretty late, which is something I'd like to kind of change maybe. I don't know if you guys have any tips on getting kids to sleep a little bit earlier. I would love to take them. Okay, those are flowers. I do have a flower in those. Okay. I haven't totally thought through like what I'm gonna do here on these leaves. I have 3 different green colors, so I might end up repainting. That's what nice about this paint is that you can just like paint right over it. You don't have to worry. You're not committed. Does anyone have any really fun Mother's Day plans for the weekend? You guys doing anything? Honestly, we haven't really made any plans yet. I think we're planning on maybe like finding somewhere to walk around if there's some sort of like festival or like whatever. But honestly, I'll take like help in the garden if that's on the table. My husband said that help me clear out all of my beds and help me get my tomatoes planted, and to me that's a great Mother's Day present because I do not want to do any of that right now. like at least the kind of hard manual labor. Being halfway through my pregnancy, things are getting tougher and tougher to do. So honestly, just for me, like I've never been like a big mother's like go all out on Mother's Day kind of gal. Like I like just spending time with my family. Like that's just rather what I'd rather do. Um, so I'm happy if I get to spend my time with them, especially with my husband leaving relatively soon. Just being able to spend time with him is really like the best gift. So. I don't know if you guys can hear all the nature sounds in the background. It's just like so relaxing. I should have made a cup of coffee coming out here though. That would have been the topper to a really good morning. And if you guys are just joining, I am painting a barn board for my garden. So I'll paint this and I'll put some polyurethane over it just to protect the wood so it can sit outside. But yeah, very excited. I made some rhubarb strawberry crisp this weekend from the rhubarb plants that we had pop up. We have two pretty big rhubarb plants over there. And we had one in my old place, but it was pretty like, I don't know, it never came up really strong. And I always just got too sidetracked to actually do anything with it. I wasn't really intentional about it. And this is the first time I've ever like picked my own rhubarb and made my own rhubarb crisp, which was super exciting. It was so good. It kind of makes me like regret not being more proactive about it at my old place, but you live and you learn. And plus, I just have a lot more time now to kind of focus on stuff like that. That's kind of the point of moving up here is focusing on our homestead and focusing on our kids and all that stuff. But yeah, I am just really excited about the harvest that's to come this summer. And I think I mentioned I have 40 tomato plants, which is going to be just insane. I hope I can keep them all alive. But luckily I have a lot of really good mentors in my life. My aunt, she does like massive gardening, homesteading. She has like a greenhouse with like, I don't even know how many tomatoes. She probably does like, I bet she does like at least 100 tomato plants. I don't even know. Maybe it's more, maybe it's less, but it's a lot in her greenhouse. And she definitely is a good resource for me when I'm like, what do I do? So she knows what's going on. So and then we've had some people at church too. Like most of the people up here do some sort of like animal raising or gardening at the very least, or some sort of homesteading. So I have a lot of good resources at church too that I've really been willing to help us out and kind of give us some tips too, especially since like we're about like 2.5 hours north of where my aunt is. So like we're even in a like kind of almost a colder growing climate. And so it's not that much different, but like I just feel like from where we used to live is 5 hours north. So it really is different. some of the timing that I have on like when things are supposed to go in the ground. I'm like, oh, when do I when do I do this? And I was always so much later last time. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Andrea. I miss you. And so yeah, we are excited and learning for sure. Like I don't always know what I'm doing, but I always consider everything a learning experience. Like I said about my trying to grow things indoor with the grow lights, um, definitely a fail. But like next year, I kind of know like okay, I need to do some more lights, I think, and I probably need to start things earlier. Maybe I need to water them a little bit more, or just like watch the soil a bit. So everything like that I do, even if it's like a failure to me, is a learning experience. So I don't know. I always just feel like you can't learn if you don't try. If you don't make mistakes or you mess up. And obviously you can try and be successful on the first time, and that's always like really great. But you'll never know if you can do it if you don't actually try to do it. So I probably should have broke out my thinner brush for this, but that's okay because when I come back on the background, I can clean up all of this like extra stuff. I'm almost thinking I should get a lighter green to kind of differentiate some of these. Oh, I totally missed the carrot one. I know my parent, like my mom and my aunt did this one as a turnip, and I don't remember what colors they used, so I need to like go check. And I don't know if they did a beet on this one, so I need to go check their reference photo and see what colors they did. But what's great about these is you can really do any colors you want. They pot up colors for you, but you can request like different colors if you want. If you have a different idea in mind. I feel like it's just chilly enough this morning where I'm like, should I put my sweatshirt on? But the Wisconsinite in me is like, no, it's kind of getting warm. The sun's out. Don't do it. Uh-oh. All right. That's my call. My baby is up. And so this is what we got done this morning. We did really good progress. So I'll come back on later and we'll finish this up together. But if you guys have any questions, go ahead and drop them in my Instagram or in the comments here, and I'll address them next time. Thanks so much for joining me this morning. Bye.